Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Caring Conference. Our next presenter is Christine, and she's going to help us prepare for our future. Before she does, I just want to give her a shout out. She was an amazing promoter of our event. Honestly, it seemed like every other day on LinkedIn, she was sharing about the other presenters, sharing about the conference. It was awesome. Thank you so much for doing that, Christine. Okay, looking forward to your presentation. Take it away.
You're welcome, Denise. And rightly so. This has been amazing, and we're only partway through. I'm really grateful to be here. And you can see on the screen that I'm asking you to tell how I want you to brag. I would love for you to put in the chat column how you, for yourself, have prepared for your own future, your own aging. And the reason why I am in the process of writing a book is because of you. So you are listening to me right now, and I feel like I've been in your home with you. I've been in almost 100 different homes as a hired caregiver. And while I was there for my client who I loved, I was shoulder to shoulder with you, and we would confide in each other. How are we going to handle this in our own future? Who is going to come alongside us? And I had a bag as a caregiver, and I would write on scraps of paper as I sat in my car between shifts. And I would say, oh, people need to know about this ahead of time. Wow, I'm seeing a commonality from home to home. And so I created a type of journal, and it's different. It takes a little getting used to. Part of this journal is not journaling about something that is happening to you or from your past, but projecting yourself into your own future. And the two words are emotions and relationships, because they seem to be most important, affecting everything else. So the next part is that after you've projected yourself into your own future, there would be prompts. So specific things that you would write about. And then I thought, that's too much for a person who is giving care, is driving distances, or is in a home and is awake at night during the day on schedules that are different than used to be. And so I decided that the journal should also have answers that you can choose from. It's like, I don't even know what to think about this part. So you can just look through those, and it would get your mental processes going. It's like, that one makes the most sense to me in my life. So it is a journal, but it's about your own future, emotions, and relationships. And it has prompts, so things that you can answer. And it has answers for you. So that's what I'm working on. And I wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to go through this process with me. And so that's exactly what you're going to do right now. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is that each time you turn the page, there's a different aspect of aging. So today, we're only going to do one. We're just going to do driving and car keys are becoming an issue. When you have an opportunity, answer the question in the chat column. There we go. So this is for myself, and I'm projecting myself into my distant future. And so the first thing I've written in my journal is about driving and car keys. And I think what what will that be like in my future? There's no way for me to know for sure. So I just take a moment and I think about other people and the wise ideas that they had. People like you who have confided in me. Boy, it took like a year and a half to be able to approach this subject, let alone be done with the driving and the keys with, my loved one who needed to not drive anymore. So when you're defining this, it's not a dictionary definition. It's about how it impacts you. So I am the person that I am right now. And a lot of people who are 96 years old have told me, I am still the same person that I was when I was your age. So I think, what would that mean to me right now? I looked in that answer box, that suggestion, an answer key or a suggestion box that I've already written. And the one that really hit me was, I had an accident, a traffic accident, but I'm pretending to my family like I know what happened, but I really don't. That hit me. I thought, if I get to that point, I need to reconsider listening to my loved ones. So the next part is, what's the thing that could hit me that I feel like I can probably handle that. It's not that traumatic for me. It could be for someone else. So again, I looked into the answer box that I wrote a couple of years ago as I was in the midst of caregiving. And one of the things that I thought, that probably won't bother me very much about giving up my driving or saying, you've got the car keys and you're in charge of me. And that was, but I love my car and it's an extension of my personality. I thought that one is not going to be a big deal to me, but it might be to someone else. But that one, I feel like it's not going to hit my emotions. It's not going to impact my relationship with my loved ones. However, I did see one that I could not escape. And in the box, one of the answers I had written down because of my experience with caregiving, with hearing stories, with being confided in, was I finally thought, if there's a possibility that I could seriously injure someone else, I'm done. I'm out. So that one I would never want to have happen. And that is something that I've written down in my journal, that it is one of the things that's very important to me. I could write down two different ones and I could write something about it in my journal saying, because of an experience that I have been through, and I wouldn't want to cause it again. So it is just as important that I write in this journal and that I express to my loved ones something that really isn't going to make any difference to me. So along the lines of driving and car keys are becoming an issue, I wrote down, if they ask me to take a driving test. Again, I've been in all these homes, I've heard these stories, and I thought, I don't think that I would feel bad about it or good about it. I think it just would be fine. It would be a neutral person letting me know your driving is going fine, or there are some concerns. You didn't pass, or you didn't have a very high score and you thought you did. So I thought, that's a good idea. I'll let them know you can approach me about that. My loved ones can approach me about that. So this is a simple list in the answer key that's in this journal for this aspect. There's just a list of emotion words. And the one that stuck out to me was feeling babied and the bristles just stood up. I don't want them to talk to me that way. I don't want them to think that I'm dumb. I don't like that. So that's a good warning for my loved ones. It's like, let's keep talking to mom. Let's keep talking to our friend, our spouse, um, on an adult level. Don't give me that other. It's really going to be difficult for our emotions, our relationship, actually. On this one, I like to do too, because relationships are a two-way street. What's coming from me to you and what's coming from you to me. So I looked into the answers I had written down and I thought, oh, that's a big deal. If they are feeling that the next time I go off driving, I could get really lost. So projecting myself into the future, I'm having a hard time finding my way home. I'm having a hard time finding my way to semi-familiar places. That would be their expression. And then from me, I could really imagine this because I've seen it happen and I can imagine me doing it too, that I would literally argue with them and say, I need to keep my car and I need to keep my keys because what if there's an emergency and I need to drive away from it? It doesn't sound like a good idea. I think I need to warn them about that ahead of time. Now, I looked into the box and I thought that one isn't strong enough. So I created my own. From the time that I first started writing this prompted journal until now, I've realized that I need a little more stronger language for myself. So I decided that if I am approached, this is me in the future, about concerns about my driving, that I would literally give up my car, my keys, my driver's license for an entire month. And I would try out some alternate transportation ideas. 1 month, it's on my terms. I feel like there's a countdown. I don't have to stick with it. So I would give it a good try. And I'm writing this down in this journal because I'm going to express this to my loved ones that I'm willing to do this. So recently, I was not the driver of my own car. And what I said to myself, okay, do what you decided, do what you wrote down in the journal. So I recorded, just little notes, the conversations that we had while the other person was driving my car and had their hands on the steering wheel and all the other controls. And I mentally made a list of other people we could have brought along on that drive. And I also was honest about the frustrations, and I need to write those down. But this just came from the answer box that I created for this prompt of doing a pre-action plan. Obviously, I got ahead. I typically go into hysterical blindness when I am presenting. I apologize for that. Can anyone relate? Oh my goodness. I wanted to make sure that I touched on one thing that I skipped over, and that is for intended happier outcome. I wanted to make sure that I told you that I would make friends with the professional driver who is driving me around in like an Uber or one of the senior drivers that come and pick you up, and they've been vetted out because of their great personalities. And also for intended happier outcome, I would also choose things to substitute that would be just as joyful as driving. So maybe a new adventure, a new hobby. So my bounce back reward, if I get through all these, whether I do them in order or not, if I get through all these, I looked at my box full of answers of things that I could do to reward myself. Self-care kicked up a notch. So I thought, I always drive past that place that has those go-karts where I used to take the kids before they could drive, and they're not as interested anymore. I should just stop there as an adult, get into one of those go-karts, drive around and tell myself, you know, someday this may be the only driving they'll allow me to do, and I'll just be all over the track. And they'll say, okay, that's enough. I might also bring a treat to a nearby fire department and just thank them for showing up at accidents. We're almost at the end here. I have confided in you the thoughts that I have about my own future and the answers that I might choose or write down, and also that it's prompted, which you've been seeing here on the screen. We're at number 12. And although I've confided in you, you're not going to be close by to me to be my caregiver. So I've chosen my son, because my son is one person that I taught how to drive. And he is an adult now, and he understands the joy and the independence that comes with driving. And he also knows that he will be involved in my life in the future. So I've selected him, and that will happen probably after he gets home from work today. On the pages that you have access to, I will give you that link in just a moment. On the pages that are full of all these answers, that have all the prompts in the right order, and there is a kind of a short call to action. You can circle yes, no, yes, no. And it's just to make sure that you're really telling someone, you're really communicating, that you're really documenting what will help your future relationships, how to know how to approach you, to understand emotions that you think could be impacted and could present themselves when you're hit with some issues, and to take some action now to start a great habit of marching into your future with both hands on the helm. This is you're driving it. So the place to go to is agingbetternetwork.com/CC for Caring Conference, agingbetternetwork.com/CC. And there will be materials there that you didn't even know that you needed until now. Thank you.
Christine, you have about 7 minutes left.
Fantastic. Denise, did anyone enter into the chat column something that they are doing for themselves? And I'll just remind people of that. Something that you've already done for yourself to successfully face your own aging, your own future years. It may be filling out a will. It may be sitting down with the kids and passing out some photos of your childhood that you just want to enjoy seeing them look at right now. And it might be that you've made a journal specifically thinking, I want them to find, I hope they find this. I'm going to leave it somewhere so that they can read what I was thinking and how that impacted me. There's a lot of different ways to act now on your own future aging.
Yeah, so we had a lot of suggestions about what people have been doing. So I wrote that I started swimming, so I have an exercise I can do for the rest of my life. And we had a nice discussion around stopping coloring our hair and just be beautiful with our gray hair. And
Yay!
others shared that they have been really focused on exercise and self-care, thinking about financial security.
Mhm.
And Kathy has picked up her advanced directives from her, I think it's a personal, her physician. And
which is a lot easier to do when you have a lot shorter list of things to consider. We've walked through that, my sister and I, with my mom, and it was good for all of us to do that together, to not just look at her and say, okay, make your decisions, but to sit there and fill those out and think about that and have it be a normal part of conversation that day.
And Patty has been talking about planning her funeral home arrangements or funeral arrangements, which I think all of us can really do. I have on my top of my list to do is joining the cremation society and then completing the paperwork for that. It took a long time with my parents. It was a long time with my mom in particular, and I don't want to go through a long time with someone else, meaning I don't want someone else to go through my long time. So that was a long time. And others are really thinking about how are they going to pay for care in the future, long-term care insurance, financial investments, and then thinking through how to make it happen.
There have been a number of people who have sat through some of this process of this projecting yourself into the future and going through the prompts. And they've said, oh, I'm going to pre-act my age, because that's my word, pre-act. I'm going to pre-act my age. Well, I guess I already have, because I signed up for a CPR class. And I asked why. And this person responded, I am looking into my own future and I can see myself caring for any loved one. It could be peer, it could be a child who is going through some medical things, it could be a parent, it could be their best friend, their sibling. And I see myself doing that. I'm going to start with CPR. And then this person said, I think my next step, because I think I'd be good at this, I think I'm going to go for my CNA. This person works at a community college, and they said, I can get my CNA for free as long as I'm still working there. I'm taking advantage of it right now. And he said, you're pre-acting your age. It's something that people naturally do. And I've learned so much from the people that I've either been their assistant or I've assisted shoulder to shoulder with them.
Christine, can you put your last slide up just for one moment, just to make sure we get the agingbetternetwork.com/cc link?
How about if I get my IT guy to do that? Can you
Oh,
put
you know
that
what?
last slide up again?
It's okay. It's okay.
It's
So
okay.
just want
If
to,
it comes up, it will. It's agingbetternetwork.com/cc. So all together. Oh, perfect. Oops, that's the first one. We'll get to it.
yeah, Deanne's got it in the chat
Excellent.
room, so I think we're good. I think we're
Oh,
good. Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you, Deanne.
Thank you for asking. So it's not complete yet. I don't have the journal out yet. Someone is putting theirs out towards the end of May. I'm aiming for May Day to just say it's finished. Authors have to do that. Authors have to say it's hands off, just let it go like a balloon. Poof. So I want to fix everything for everyone. Probably be better if I just let them do it themselves and go, oh, those are pretty good answers. But what I really want is this. And that is more than encouraged. The only right answers are your right answers, because that's what you want to share with your loved ones so they know how better to approach you, how better to understand you. And you get to start practicing that habit of what I meant to do now that I've finished reacting is I meant to say, I treasure your relationship with me even more than my keys.
That's perfect. That's a perfect close. Thank you so much, Christine. Thank you so much. So if you can stop sharing your screen, we'll get Debbie up and we'll get her set with her screen sharing. Debbie, can you unmute yourself so I can find? Oh, I see you. I see you.
Hey there.
Okay, so if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
Oops.
And I am going to stop this recording.
What is happening?